Here we are inside the Azure Log Analytics query portal. As mentioned in the introduction, there are many platforms for using KQL, Log Analytics being one of them. The user interfaces for the other platforms may differ from the Log Analytics portal we'll be using in this course, but rest assured, the KQL language is identical for all of them. This portal is publicly accessible, no Azure account required. You can either go to the shortcut provided in the introductory slides, or just go to the URL you see on the screen. The most noticeable thing here is the home page, where you can see a short video on getting started. To the right are some favorite queries that people like to run. If I scroll down, you'll see some common queries, and I can actually execute any of these by clicking on the Run button. Below this are tips and tricks, along with news about the latest updates. If I were to come up here and click the plus button, it takes me to a new tab where I can actually start entering queries. We'll be spending a lot of time here in this module. Over on the left is an area that gives me a list of everything that is available to me to query on. The top level, I have what could loosely be called databases or collections of tables. I'll scroll down and you can see these cover a wide variety of areas. Now the area we're going to be spending time on is log management. So if I expand log management, I'll see a list of tables that I can work with. I can further expand this list of tables. How about perf, because we're going to be using the performance counters tables quite a bit. I'll scroll that down so you can see it all. And there are all the columns available to me under the performance counters. Bucket end time, start time, computer, and so forth. The icon to the left of the name indicates the data type. The little clock icon indicates that this is a date-time column. T indicates this is a text-based column, and the pound sign, or hashtag as some people might call it, refers to this as a numeric column. Over to the right, I have this folder icon. If I click on it, it brings up a series of queries that have been saved into the Query Explorer for the sample website. You can see I've got favorites, saved queries, and you can actually bring up any of these queries and you can execute it right here within the browser. So if I come up here to execute this saved query, all I have to do is click Run, and there, it's rendered a nice little chart for us. We'll look more at the execution of queries as the course goes on. Also be aware that hopefully by the time this course is published, the sample queries used in this course will also be embedded in the Query Explorer to the right. Look for a section entitled Pluralsight to find the queries for each module. I can also close the Query Explorer when I'm done with it. The Home button returns me to the home page. We can see up here, if you are actually logged in, your ID would be up here, but we are a guest, so it just says guest. Let me come back over here. I want to show you a little bit about a standard query window. You can see that comments begin with // so you'll see quite a few comments throughout this module. If I scroll down, I have some tips in the Module 1 demos that remind you what all of these things are for. If I scroll down a little bit, you'll see my very first query. It is extremely basic. All I have to do is type in the name of the table, in this case, perf. I could also drag and drop it from the area on the left. If I were to start typing it in, I do have IntelliSense. So you can see here, perf pops up and I can hit the tab key to finish it out. Now it also takes me to the next line with a pipe character. We can expand our commands, similar to the way we would write a select query in SQL, through tacking on other filters such as where and what. Let me come back up here though, and we'll just get rid of that. I can execute a query in a variety of ways. I can click the Run button at the top, or I can hold down Shift and hit Enter. Shift-Enter is what I'll be doing for the majority of the course. So when I execute a query, you may not see the mouse go up and click the Run button, but just know that what I'm doing is holding down Shift and hitting the Enter key. Note too, I can limit my query time span. Here I can say show it to me for the last 10 minutes, last hour, last 7 days. I can even do a custom time range. Let's do this just for the last 10 minutes. And let's hit the Enter key, Shift Enter, and we'll run this query. Note that my Run button becomes Cancel while this is running. Let's come down here now, and we will expand this to give us more room, and I can see the data that's been returned. Over on the right, you can see this query took 2.689 seconds to complete, and it returned 10,000 records. If I come down here, I can scroll the data and see data to the left and the right. I can also scroll down to see data throughout each row. I get 50 items per page, and I have 200 pages, so it has a maximum return by default of 10,000, although that can be overridden within the query. I can click all the way to the last page, go all the way to the first page, or go to a specific page number by typing it in and hitting Enter. Now, through this course, I'll probably be alternating. Sometimes we may have the schema displayed, but most of the time we'll have it collapsed by clicking this little chevron. Click that, bring it back and forth, just like we did with the query filter over here. We can collapse and expand that. This just gives us a little more room on the display. Also, as we get into the course, we can full screen the browser to give us even more space. We'll just hit F11. And here we are, we have our browser full screen so we can take full advantage of our interface. And that pretty much wraps up our basic tour of the Azure Log Analytics interface. This wraps up our brief introduction to KQL. You've seen where to use it, how to access the demo sites, and even run a simple query. We'll really start the fun in the next module, in which you'll learn 80% of the operators you'll ever use.